Hey y'all, and welcome to the Mr. Maple Show. I'm Tim.
And I'm Brian, and I'm excited to be back jumping in on another 10 at 10 here at Mr. Maple. We're always trying to bring the heat when it comes to offering you guys some amazing varieties of Japanese maples and all kinds of other plants. I'm excited about today.
Guys, we're standing here for the 10 at 10 from November 23rd of 2023, y'all. You know, it's almost Thanksgiving, and man, I'm thankful for all y'all. Thank y'all so much for being great viewers. Thank you for our customers. Thank you for our international support. Y'all, we'd appreciate if y'all hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And as always, make sure you sign up for our weekly emails on MrMaple.com. We would really appreciate it. And y'all, the 10 at 10s are some of my favorite times of the week. That's when we talk about 10 plants of the 20 trees that we'll be listing at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on MrMaple.com. You know, right now, we've got Black Friday happening on MrMaple.com. You can take advantage of the savings and add some cool new trees to your cart so you can bring some cool, interesting plants, take advantage of some awesome sales. And guys, we just renegotiated our shipping rates. So we're bringing you super cheap shipping rates. Someone in California now can get plants cheaper than we were shipping them to in North Carolina, you know, a month ago. So take advantage of those savings, take advantage of the sale. Yeah. And guys, the 10 at 10 is amazing. We love it. We love putting all these cool plants out for you and making them available on MrMaple.com. And guys, we've got a giveaway happening right now. We're doing a t-shirt design competition. You can send your design ideas to MrMapleGiveaway@gmail.com. We're looking for the 2024 t-shirt idea for Mr. Maple. And the winner gets a gift card from Mr. Maple and a signed Talon Buckholz poster for Buckholz Nursery.
Absolutely. And also don't forget to go and check out the merchandise we now have available on our website. I'm really excited about that. I know we've been talking about it since I came out here. It's something we really wanted to do because I love sporting around with some Mr. Maple gear on. I know you guys will want to do that too, so go check it out. We got hats and t-shirts and a lot more other stuff to come down the pipe.
And we're listing new merch every Monday while supplies last. We're gonna see what's popular, reorder what's popular, and try to make more things available for y'all. We appreciate all y'all's support. And now guys, let's get ready for the 10 at 10.
Let's do it, man.
Let's start.
We'll start down here. You want to start with the big boy?
Let's talk about these big boys.
All right, man. Right here, we've got a killer plant. Definitely one that I highly recommend. We got Acerpalum Sumashi.
Y'all, Sumashi is an amazing tree. Now, some of these may have to get cut to fit into our boxes. A lot of these will bend and still fit in our boxes. But I'm 6 foot.
Dude, these are huge.
These are huge. So for pickup people, these are like the size of like a 15-gallon almost.
Yeah.
What Sumashi does, it has this upright habit that has semi-pendulous branches that spreads out. So this is a tree that's gonna get about as tall as it is wide, typically reaching 12 to 14 feet in height and width in 10 years. It's a red Japanese maple that can give you some really nice shades of orange to red in the fall. For a upright red, it has that Matsumori style foliage, and it's a tree that you're going to definitely love.
It definitely gives you a kind of a different look than your traditional upright red Japanese maple. I love that the intricacy and the texture that Matsumori leaf provides. It gives us something just a little extra special. And like you said, man, you can get some really killer reds and oranges on the fall color on this. Super bright out in the garden. And one thing I like about this tree as well is that if you can put it in a little bit more sun, it holds its color, but it also holds its color fairly well in the shade. I grew this in Oklahoma and really enjoyed this cultivar, so definitely put it on your list.
This is also a fairly heat tolerant tree. It's fairly vigorous. And believe it or not, I've got insider information that this was the parent tree to English lace. So if you want to look for cool, interesting new seedlings, look through some Sumashi. You can get some lace leaves that may even have more of that upright habit to them. This tree is an outstanding tree to add to the garden, and it's a vigorous tree that's going to make a beautiful tree fairly quickly. If we have to cut this tree to put it in your shipping box, don't worry. These trees will pop out back in the spring and make up that growth really quickly. Then we still got this good sized root ball down here.
Oh yeah.
And these things are just gonna make a beautiful tree out there in the garden.
Yeah, and if you want to start with something that kind of makes an instant presence out there, these sizes will definitely do that. And then when you come out in this next spring, they're going to keep flushing out, pushing out new branching on that and start to fill out for you. It's going to look awesome.
All right, so let's come on down here on this side.
All right, let's do it.
We've got Acer Sabam Seki no Key Gun.
Ooh. I love the Sabolianum cultivars. They just have such a unique look to them. I love that round leaf. Gives you some phenomenal fall colors too. Seki no Kigan, I mean, I've seen this with some crazy like purple colors. I've seen this with some nice yellows and oranges. I mean, this thing gives you kind of the whole array of what you expect with fall color. And what I really is interesting about this is it's really the only weeping style of the Sabolianum. So that's really what sets it apart, I think, from all the other Sabolianum cultivars. Killer plant.
Introduced in Japan in 2015. We had one on the grounds at MrMaple in 2014. It was found in Japan, and somehow we got one early.
Nice.
And this tree is outstanding. It's a selection by that was found in the wild, named after a waterfall, Seki no Kigan. And we've got a great cultivar highlight at John and Jerry Criticos's. Go check that out on Seki no Kigan. You'll see this tree in peak fall color with that weeping cascading shape. It's a tree that's got some vigor to it, but it's got that weeping full moon style. And there's not many that have that rounded full moon-like leaf with that weeping habit. Being an Acer Sabolianum, this is a really interesting tree. Give it some protection from the hot afternoon sun in hotter climates. But this is a tree that's gonna have a unique texture. Gives you some of that style that you have with something like a lace leaf, but a softer appearance because of that larger leaf.
And if you definitely were looking for some inspiration of what this tree can bring to your garden, check out that video that we did. I'm telling you, the colors look unreal, and it actually inspired me to plant this at my house. He had this kind of cascading over this hillside, and I wanted to kind of replicate that in my garden after I saw it, because I was like, man, this thing looks phenomenal. It creates such a huge presence out there. Gives you a different look than what you would expect out of a Sabolianum cultivar.
I remember reading an article about this tree in the Maple Society newsletter that someone in Japan had written about. And like the original tree in Japan that they found, that they believed to be, 75 to 100 years old, was already 10 foot by 10 foot.
Wow.
And it's not a very fast growing tree. I mean, I thought. And then we've got one that's the original from the one we planted in 2014. So it's almost 10 years old now at MrMaple in my parents' gardens. And it's every bit of 9 feet tall.
Yeah.
And probably 12 foot wide.
Just
and I realized how beautiful this tree can be out there. It's an outstanding tree. And being an Acer Sabolianum, again, if you're a tree geek like us, really interesting genetics to look through the seed.
Absolutely. And the ones we're offering right now, they've got a nice good stake on it, so you can get some height out of that. And then let that just weep and cascade down from there. Definitely some killer sizes on these. I like how we've already got them staked up for you and ready to go. All right, so coming up here, we've got Sherman's Nordli.
Y'all, this is a dwarf dawn redwood found by Sherman as a witch's broom on the cultivar white spot. So you've got this variegated, upright dawn redwood that was out there in the landscape, and Sherman in Germany found this tree as a witch's broom on that. So you get this both dwarf and variegated, two awesome selections to have that you can, two often ways to select a tree that you can find in a garden, variegation, and then a witch's broom on top of that. I mean, you can't ask for much more than that.
Absolutely. I mean, we're all kind of looking to add some different things to our garden, and this is the perfect accompaniment to Japanese maples for sure. Being a deciduous conifer, I love that you can get some fall color out of that as well before it drops its leaves. And that spring variegation though, man, it is killer. It gives this thing a really creamy look to it. Just the variegation is subtle, but it gives it a unique look compared to other forms like this.
Yeah, it's kind of like a mint blue kind of variegation to it. And it is such a unique tree. I fell in love with this tree at the J.C. Ralston Arboretum. They had one of the very first ones in the country that Hank Van Kempen, who Sherman was one of his customers, he had given this to Talon Buchholz. Buchholz had given one of the very first ones to the J.C. Ralston Arboretum. And so I go out there and I'm just falling in love with this tree. I'm like, man, we've got to get this tree in production. So we got to start grafting it. And it has just been one of those trees that I don't think we can do enough of.
Dwarf conifers, they're awesome, man.
But it's also extremely tolerant of wet soils, being a dawn redwood. So you can add that ornamental peel to those wetter spots in your garden where you can't grow a Japanese maple. You can handle the drier spots just like a Japanese maple can, but it also is tolerant of those wetter soils. That just makes it so fun to use. Now, Nordli translates as north light. So if you see Metasequoia north light, that's actually the same tree. You know, we like calling it Sherman's Nordli because that gives credit to the original person who introduced it and has the original name on it. So we're real big proponents of using that original name on trees. But if you love dawn redwoods, look no further, Sherman's Nordli.
We all don't have room for like 100-foot tall redwoods in our gardens, right? So that's the perfect tree for that.
Now, going from something that's small to something you're going to need some room for, we got a Germaine's gyration.
Germaine's gyration, man. I can't speak enough to this lace leaf. It's probably, as far as green lace leaves, one of my favorites. Definitely just creates such an enormous presence in the garden. The one at Matt and Tim's mom's place, it's like the first time I saw that, I was just like, you got to be kidding me. Like, this is a green lace leaf. I mean, this thing just twists and curves, creates such a structure. I really love that. And even at a young age, they do it so well. Just creates interesting structures and designs. I love that architectural side of gardening, and this definitely brings it.
Now, Jay Sifford came and did an article for us for Who's or How's magazine. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that, but he came in and said, hey, pick some trees out and we're going to talk about them for this article. And Matt gave him the quote, "This is the Matt truck of Japanese maples." And it is. It's so vigorous. Yeah. It's one of the fastest growing lace leaves that has that weeping habit. And with those contortions in it, this is a tree that makes a really unique specimen in a short period of time. So it's going to have more hooks and twists than your typical green lace leaf, but it's got larger foliage, faster growth, and some really nice yellow to orange fall color. One of the things that's fantastic about that twisted growth is even after those leaves drop, you've got a unique structure out there in the garden to provide a unique interest in the garden. The bare bones of Japanese maples can be really amazing. This is one of those ones where the structure on the tree is outstanding. It's just as amazing, or even more so amazing, than the foliage and the fall color this one can provide. So this is a tree that you definitely need to add to your garden.
Yeah, this is something you want to give some room for. I mean, this thing does, like you said, it's very vigorous and get quite wide. So if you're planting in a spot, you want to make sure you're kind of accommodating for that size. But you know, it's a showpiece. It definitely is a showpiece. I've planted this one in my front yard. I've got a spot right out front that I just want to be able to see that amazing structure that's going to create there. And the fall color on this too is just premium. The oranges and yellows on this, it looks like fire in your yard. I love it, man. It's a great cultivar to be adding to your collection.
Now, this tree does get some size to it, so make sure to give it some room so you really can enjoy the full structure of this tree. But if you're looking for a specimen to add to your garden that's going to look like that 300-year-old specimen in 10 to 15 years, this is an amazing tree to do it with.
Every garden needs a little gyration in it. This will bring it. All right.
A little gyration. That makes me think about the time the person came to Columbia, South Carolina, and they were at the garden show, and this guy walks up to us and he says, "My wife wants me to get one of these for our erotic garden."
The erotic garden.
And I looked at him like, what in the world? And the lady slaps him and she says, "Exotic, you idiot."
Yeah, erotic gardens. I mean, that's something I'm not real familiar with, but
Matt was like,
No.
hopefully this is in your front yard and not. I hope this is in your backyard, not in your front yard, because we don't want that to be out there in your front yard having an erotic garden. But
all right,
we've got up next Cornus Cusa, Kristen Lipko's variegated weeper.
We've got a variegated weeping dogwood, man. This is a killer plant. One that I'd love to get in my collection, actually, now that I'm kind of learning more about it. This has a beautiful white, creamy flower to it. And the variegation on it, too, is like a white cream color with that green. Just a really interesting plant overall. Creates a nice cascading shape, too. That's what I love about kind of an interesting way to look at a dogwood. Typically, you're thinking of an upright form of a dogwood. This gives you a nice weeping habit.
It's everything you like about Ryusin, but with a dogwood.
Yeah.
I mean, you can train and shape this in the same ways, stake it up as tall as you want it, let it grow as a ground cover, use it in a hanging basket, dare I say. Good ideas to grow this tree. Very unique and special. Has the blooms late spring to midsummer, where it'll coat the tree with white blossoms over top of that variegation. something very unique and different. Being this is a cornicosa, this is going to be a tree that's disease resistant, so it can do really well. It's anthracnose resistant, it's powdery mildew resistant. It's everything you want in a dogwood with variegation, and it's weeping.
Definitely one you should add to your collection. I mean, I'm all about trying to think of different things I can add besides Japanese maples to bring different colors and textures. And I love the idea of flowering trees. I think that's something that more gardens need to have, because you have that pop of color, you have that spring interest. Even when the Japanese maples are getting after it, you got those nice flowers popping out there in the garden. Get you one of these. I mean, this weeping habit on this thing is crazy. Even as young, I mean, you can see those branches just straight down. We've got a nice tall stake for you already. You keep it going up, let it cascade. I love it.
Now, Bob Lipka, who found this, was a good friend of ours. He recently passed away, but he was a plant genius and a plant legend. He also introduced plants like ginkgo biloba grindstone, found at the fly exit in Ohio, and sort of got that into the nursery trade. So many amazing plants coming from Bob Lipka. This one named after his daughter.
Awesome plant. All right, next up right here is Acerpalum Incognito.
Y'all, these Incognitos are giants. These are some XL 1 gallons. So if you're noticing, these probably have to be shipped in our 48-inch box. But y'all, Incognito, it's a tree you're gonna really enjoy.
Definitely one that's gonna bring some really unique, interesting texture to the leaves. They're kind of a smaller size leaf, kind of gives you that feel of that macawa type, but it has a nice serration to the edges on that leaf, and it gives you like a nice twisting and curl on the leaf as well.
It does. It's almost like a Terrayama or something like that, or an Angel of the Prince, that have a little more serrations to the foliage. This tree isn't going anything but Incognito in your garden, though. I mean, it's going to stand out. It gives you a lot of color. Gives you some really good fall color as well. The twisting foliage. And as this tree ages, it gets tighter and denser. It's one of those plants kind of like Livy that will look a little vigorous at first, but tightens up and denses with age, making this an excellent tree for the garden. Sort of in that Macawa, Shishigashira style family, but with thinner foliage. You got more serrations to the leaf. Definitely a newer selection. It's going to sell out quickly today. Always sells out fast. Make sure to check out fast, because our website, you've heard me say this a billion times, but I have to say it because some people don't get it each and every week. It's not held for you until you complete the checkout process. Once you complete that checkout process, then you've got the tree held for you, and the tree's on the way. So make sure you check out fast today, especially for Acerpalum Incognito.
So all those collectors out there, definitely add one of these to your collection. All right, next up here we got Golden Globe.
Y'all, this is a Norway maple. And you know what color Golden Globe is? It's yellow.
It's yellow. Tim's favorite color. I mean, we can't talk about yellow without Tim. He gets wound up. He wants to start dancing. I mean, you know, it's something he gets excited about.
Hey, I just got 5 yellow dart frogs to add to my frog collection. So guys, the yellow is real, even in my frog collection. So real excited about those. But this tree has a dense compact habit. It's a dwarf Norway maple, and it's yellow. Give it some sunlight to really peak up those yellow colors. And the thing this tree is noted for is being able to handle that sunlight for a yellow Norway maple. And it has that globe rounded shape, something similar to like a Kiyohime, but with your Acer platanoides leaves.
Yeah, I love those big leaves. Those almost kind of has that truncatum feel to it with that platanoides leaf. Crazy yellow colors, and the more sun you give this, if you kind of push the limits of it, the better golden yellow colors you're going to get on that. So, you know, you might want to get it in a pot and kind of set it around and play with where you want to put it in your garden before you permanently put it in a spot. But, you know, it's a nice dwarf, so it can fit in a lot of different spaces.
And it's yellow all through the spring and the summer. And guess what fall color it has?
Yellow.
Yellow. It's got yellow fall color where it gets an even brighter yellow in the fall. I mean, it's bright spring through the summer. An awesome tree you need to add.
This might be the most yellow plant ever. Maybe. All right. Next up, what do we got, Tim?
We got Wat Nong.
Wat Nong. All right. So this thing is an amazing lace leaf. What I really love about this plant is its leaf is very finely dissected. I mean, it gives you this really nice frilly feel to it. You know, a lot of other lace leaves are more of that kind of Matsumura almost style. This gives you even a finer dissected leaf to it. I love the texture it brings, and some of it's like spring color is some of the craziest pinks I've ever seen, man. It's nuts.
Your garden, what's wrong? You don't have a Wat Nong, because this thing just keeps giving those amazing colors you're talking about. It's extremely heat tolerant. It has a nice sweeping habit, and you know the fall color, it's a bright orange. Our good friend Pat Dye, who had Quail Hollow Nurseries in Alabama, he's a plant legend, but he's also a football legend. The field at Auburn University, the football field, is named after Coach Pat Dye. He's a guy who coached so many amazing football players, from Bo Jackson to everybody that came through the rankings at Auburn University for years. This plant was one of his favorite trees because of that orange fall color. He's like, he's like, it reminds me a little bit of Auburn University, but it's heat tolerant and it grew well for him down there in the deep south. And that means this is a tree that provide an ever-changing beauty for your garden, but can do that in high heat settings. It can go to those colder settings too. Wat Nong is actually a nursery that was in the United States, and this was a chance seedling they found. An amazing tree. I'm so glad they introduced it because it is beautiful, easy to grow, and it just always keeps changing colors.
Yeah, and if you're looking for a lace leaf, I mean, there's so many out there, but this one's going to give you something really different and, you know, really stand out in the garden amongst other lace leaves that you might have. Or if you're just looking for something that looks different than everybody else has, Wat Nong will bring that. Just with its texture and color changes, really nice, creates a nice, beautiful cascading shape to it as well. So if you don't have a Wat Nong, what's Nong with you? No, I had to throw in, you know, had to throw in a cheesy joke. Tim can't leave me there all by myself. All right, what do we got here? We got Wave Leaf.
Y'all, this is a selection by Talon Buchholz that almost didn't get introduced into the trade. He has these Rising Stars series, and he looks through tons and tons of seedlings. Well, people were there visiting. They all kept saying, I want that one. I want that one. And so he started looking a little more at that tree, and he's like, you know, sometimes the customer is right, and that tree's awesome. So he started grafting it. It has a little bit of wave to the leaf, and so he named it Wave Leaf. But it has a shine and a glisten to it with that purple kind of color to it that makes this tree just glow.
Yeah, I remember the first time I heard about this cultivar, and, you know, Tim, we were talking about getting pictures of it, and I was really able to capture on a few of those shots that glossy sheen that each leaf has. Definitely, like, just after I realized what this tree could do, climbed up in my ranks as far as when it comes to that reticulated kind of red to purple type leaf. There's so many of the Ghost series and all of that, but I think this one really sets itself apart because of that, the wave in the leaf and then that glossy sheen to it.
And it's one of those trees that's more than meets the eye. Whenever you walk up and see it, it has that cultivar distinction quality where you say, that is beautiful, I want that in my garden. And photos can't always capture that beauty. So some of our photos on there, they can't always capture that glisten, that glow. But when you see this tree in person, it quickly becomes one of your favorite trees. Check out our podcast we recently did on the new ghosts. And that's the trees that were post-ghost that were reticulated by Talon Buchholz that didn't get that ghost name attached to it. This one, check and see where this falls on the list. I'll tell you, I like it a little bit.
He likes it a little bit. All right, last but not least, we got Acerpalum Coral Magic.
Y'all, this will add some magic to your garden. It is magical. And we're not talking that magical, if you hadn't checked out our Halloween series that Corbin and Sean did.
That was pretty magical.
That was magical. You're gonna enjoy that. It's for kicks and giggles and whatnot. We talk about some trees in there, but it was a little bit of comedy just needing to shoot a video for Halloween. So go check that out. Amazing Halloween special we recently shot.
Yeah, Corbin's still wearing the wig right now. We've tried to get him to take it off, but he won't. He's still wearing it around the nursery.
The Japanese maple wizard, Corbin Wildcat. But this tree will add some magic to your garden. And what kind of magic? Coral magic.
This is a crazy spring color plant right here. That's probably what really sets it apart. Really nice. These coral pink colors when this leaf's out. It looks like a flowering shrub. That's what we kind of talk about that a lot with some of those really fine spring interest maples. This gives you that flowering shrub feel out there in the garden and kind of lets you know, man, spring is here and all these Japanese maples are about to put on a show, and this one does it pretty well.
And it's in that what we consider the flowering Japanese maples, where the leaves themselves are almost like flowers in the spring. When they blossom out, they give you an amazing color out there. And there's not many shrubs or trees that can do that like some of these Japanese maples. Coral Magic will just grab your attention with some of those brighter colors in the spring, that coral pink. And it's a tree that, give it a little more sunlight. Morning sun, afternoon shade will peak the colors the best and hold them longer throughout the spring. But Coral Magic is one of those trees that can give you some amazing color. Then it goes to a green, and then you can get some really nice shades. As you see some yellow starting in here with some oranges and reds in the fall. This is a really nice tree. You should definitely think about adding to your garden. We really appreciate y'all. MrMaple giveaway at gmail.com for the t-shirt ideas. Guys, good shipping right now. And check out that Black Friday sale. There's the more trees listed on MrMaple during our Black Friday sale this year than ever before. So y'all, you better get excited about today's 10 at 10 and take advantage of all the savings and everything we're doing right now. We really appreciate y'all so much. You don't know how much we appreciate y'all, and we can't thank y'all enough.
You guys take care.
God bless.
Have a great day.